thank you so much for being. I'm really so honored that that Rita and Dave and the team would have me here. I want to talk about a lot of different things today, and they have to do with us as human beings and the advantage that you have being entrepreneurs. I speak to about 80, 90 organizations a year. I'm brought in to talk about what is relevant, what's working, what can I cross-pollinate from some other industry that is a best practice or an innovation to some other industry. Here's what I run into too often. People who have this mentality when things are a little rough.
Whoa, that's not good.
Like this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody!
Don't be in denial about the world. Don't think somebody else is going to come to your rescue. You come to your own rescue. Look at this, Intel. You know, I showed a slide there that Intel said that they're laying off 5,000 people. You know what they're laying off? They're laying off old technology. They're hiring new technology. Look what their president says. If we want to return to American prosperity, we have no other choice than to invest in creating the future, not merely preserving the past. That's the attitude we have to have. We can't bemoan what's happening. We can't sit in our chairs and bite our nails and worry about what's next. We have to get out of the chair. How do we remain relevant? What is it that we can do that our customers will still want? And you're lucky that beauty is recession-proof. While cosmetic procedures are down, luxury skin products are up 21%, according to this research firm. This woman says, they say beauty is fairly recession-proof, and I know it to be true. We're 44% increased on product sales so far, this woman says. Now, what about the customer? Here's what the customer thinks. In Dallas, this woman said, I think the last thing to go in a recession is skin care and face products. It's okay to wear old clothes, but if you stop with your skin care, you go to pieces. That's the emotionality that I'm talking about. That's what the culture is thinking. All right, let's talk about this. How do you become recession-proof? You know, we wrote this book, Are You Relevant? And I'm going to just reveal a couple of things. By the way, I'm not one of those guys who brings books. I don't try to sell you anything. I'm going to give you some things later, but I'm not going to sell you anything. I just want to inform you that we spent the last 18 months cross-pollinating a lot of different ideas throughout the culture. I'll give you one. I go to a grocery convention. You know what I find out? 45% of us at 4 o'clock in the afternoon still have not decided what we want for dinner. Because we're busy. How many of you are calling your wives or husband and go, what do you want for dinner tonight? Do you know what you want for dinner? I don't know. I don't know. Well, okay, we'll get the salad bar and one of those hot chickens. All right, we'll do that. All right. Grocery business has to figure out what can you have ready for people when you come in at 4 o'clock or 4:30 and trying to figure out what to want for dinner. The next convention I go to, having this new information about our culture, is this. I go to McCormick & Schmick's seafood restaurant chain. They have 90 of these beautiful seafood restaurants. And I say, you know what happens? 4 o'clock in the afternoon, people don't know what they want for dinner. If I were you, I'd start my radio advertising at 3:30. And they did. The ad said, if you haven't decided what you want for dinner yet, think about McCormick & Schmick's seafood restaurants. We have this, and this, and we'll do the dishes for you. It spiked their revenue instantly. Pay attention to what happens in other industries. You know what I'm a proponent of? Going to the wrong convention. There are conventions happening in every hotel in America all the time, and a lot of them don't require security badges. You can just walk in and sit down with a notepad and start taking notes and listening to people. You'll pick up things in other industries you can apply to your very own business. That's how you stay relevant. All right, first, understand this. And this is what I love about being I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years. Many of you have too, and I think it's the greatest business because we've already been fired. But nobody can motivate you to be great. This is me after the construction work. Not very attractive, I know, but I wanted to go into business for myself. And in our little town of Puyallup, Washington, we had 5,000 people. Hey! Hey, from Puyallup! Well, we have the state fair, and Puyallup is actually the Indian word for scone. I can say that, I'm Blackfoot Indian. So the thing about this, we had no pet shop. No pet shop! I thought, what a great opportunity. I have $9,000, I'm going to open the only pet shop in our town. And I'm also a young guy who likes stereo equipment, so I open America's only stereo and pet shop. It's called Woofers and Tweeters. You have no idea, I wish that was a joke. I really, it was the best I could do. And do you mind if we bring the house lights up? I'd really like to see your faces if it's all right with you. Can we bring those up? I'll tell you about the problem with having a pet shop is that you have to like cleaning pet cages. And I didn't like it because it was a 24/7 job, and after a while, and these animals eat each other. Do you know that? They're predator, they're prey. Just because you call them pets, they're in the animal world. We had a snake that would sneak out at night and eat our parakeets. I invited a third grade class down to watch hamsters being born. And these little 8-year-olds have got their noses pressed against the window, and the babies are born, and the daddy goes over and eats them. These kids are crying, and I'm lying to them. I said, no, in the hamster world, Daddy washes them off and spits them out later. That's how it goes. So I announced to my family, I don't want to be in the pet shop business anymore. I want to get out of this. I'm selling everything off. My dad said, what are you going to do? I said, if I'm going to work 18 hours a day, I want to do something I love. What do you love? I love, at the time, watching TV. That's what I love. You can't make any money watching TV. No, I don't want to watch it. I would like to be one of those guys. I would like to be Dave Letterman or Johnny Carson or one of those talk show hosts. My dad reminded me I'm running a pet shop in a town of 5,000 people. He goes, it's not an easy route there you've picked, Ross. I was stubborn. I didn't listen to him. I started reading books about how you got into that business and what you had to do and who you had to talk to. And I wrote letters to all those people, and nobody ever wrote me back or anything. And I studied it. I would not be deterred from my goal. I was focused, and I would go inch by inch, and I'd learn this, and I'd go there, and I'd meet that person. I'd take tours of stations and so forth. 6 years from the pet shop, because I was so determined, I ended up competing in late-night TV against Dave Letterman. Because I didn't give up. Just like you should not give up. I stayed focused. I was very determined, and I adjusted along the way as I needed to be more relevant and the culture changed. I paid attention to what was happening with humanity. So you can get wherever you want to go. Don't let anybody else tell you that you can't. Thank you. Now, but let me tell you what happens when you go from managing a pet shop in a town of 5,000 people to now competing in late-night television on a network level against someone like Dave Letterman, because it's very fascinating what happens. What happens is you get canceled. Everybody gets canceled. So now I'm out of work, and Matt Lauer and I had a show that followed Nightline on the ABC network for a while. I haven't talked to Matt in some time. I sure hope he's landed on his feet. And then I hosted a number of television game shows, which is mandatory when you have my kind of hair. It always looked, our whole family has this hair. We look like a family of concierges wherever we go. But, as exciting and fun as television was, I was always looking for the next thing because I knew television was terminal. I heard Bill Gates say in 1994 that someday people are going to be watching television on their phones. And a room just howled at this news, except me, because I knew Bill Gates was a pretty smart guy and he probably knew something we didn't know. So I shifted gears. I shifted gears and started creating funny human resource training films because people always need information. They always need to know what the next thing is with regard to the culture and human behavior. And it put me on the speaking circuit with these so-called best-selling authors and these experts and these researchers. And I'd see books like this. And okay, you applauded that. Now you're going to hate me when I show you what happened after that. I find that a lot of these informational books are not relevant to you and me. Because when the economy got tough, when the economy got tough, what did we see? We saw this. The one-minute manager got laid off, didn't he? Or we would see people who have these formula books for us. We're supposed to follow these 6 steps, these 4 steps, these 5 steps. These 5 Dysfunctions of a Team was a great book. Do you think there are only 5? What if you have 6 members on your team? Can't help you there, can it? How about this? 7 powers of questions. Here are the 7 executive steps to coaching. There are the 9 steps to financial freedom. What about the 7 timeless principles for success? Then there's a guy who says, well, that was a nice try, but actually, there are 10 steps to success. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Very, very famous book. Steve Covey's very famous and worldwide best-selling book. These are the things that you and I are supposed to follow and do to be successful in our lives. These are the 7 things. Stick to these 7. That's what you do. 16 years later, it occurs to Steve, oh, man, you know what? There is an 8th habit. I totally forgot. Oh. My bad. Didn't see it coming. This should prove to every one of us in this room that there aren't a finite number of steps that you need to follow to be successful in your lives. There isn't. There's one. Here's the formula for you. Success will be your own fault. You have to rely on you because you get up and be you every single day. You'll have a lot of cheerleaders in your life, but there isn't a number of steps that you need to follow to be successful. Because successful people don't follow a pattern. They follow themselves. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later because I have a formula for you that's going to change the way that you sell. And it's going to change the way that you are in your life. But what happens is you will be astounded at the results. Then I see these books, Who Moved My Cheese? These books infuriate me. This is a book about mice. It's not even about people. These mice wake up and the cheese they've been eating their whole life is gone. One mouse goes, hey, the cheese is gone. Where'd it go? Hey, maybe they've moved it. I think I'll look for it over there. The other mouse says, not me. I'm going to stay here. I think it's coming back. That mouse finds the cheese. He tells his friend, hey, we can have as much as we want. We just have to eat it over there. And this one goes, no. The moral of that story is that mouse lives a fat and happy life. This one starved to death waiting for his cheese to come back. What a cute little tale that turned out to be. And so managers were passing this book out by the thousands to employees saying, this is a really fun little book for you to read. I might enjoy it. It's just come in handy in the off chance you lose your job. It's a nice little book, I think. What did he just say? Here are the flaws in my opinion. If you're one of those people who are walking around this planet going, who moved my cheese? You've admitted to yourself and the planet you have no clue about what's going on in your life. That somebody else is pushing your life around, and here's my take on this. If cheese is that thing that's supposed to nourish us, then that's your values and your passions, the things that wake you up in the middle of the night, or the things you surf on the net, the magazines you get. Nobody can push that around. That's why we've had great success with our own book, Nobody Moved Your Cheese. Why do we think experts know us better than we know ourselves? It's silly. It's ridiculous. Nobody knows your passions. Nobody knows your capabilities except you. We keep looking to other people to figure this out for us. The question we should ask is, oh, this is a problem. What would I do in this situation? What would I do in this situation is the bigger question, isn't it? That's why when I see, I've done this circuit, I see these motivational speakers all the time, and they kind of drive me batty. Just because I just don't get it. Because the 3rd chapter in this book happens to be Anthony Robbins hasn't done a bloody thing. Who's this guy? What industry did he build? He's charismatic and he's huge. That's what he does. I followed him once at a healthcare conference. I get it. He is huge. He's 6'7", about 290 pounds, muscular. He charges around the stage. He pounds his fist in the air, and he's getting you all fired up. And afterward, I got it. These guys are in the business of selling temporary enthusiasm. They get you fired up for the moment. You buy the books, and you go home, and you go, oh, man, I'm still me. What a disappointment this turned out to be. Guys like Tony Robbins have their place. They sell optimism. If you need optimism, you can get it from these guys. Tony Robbins is so optimistic, I swear if he ever went to jail, he'd tell people he lived in a gated community.